What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Opus 12 Earth set review. Today we are going to be talking about what I believe are some of the better cards from the set. I don't like going over every single card because we know they're not. We all know they're not all good. And with that being said, let's start off here with the two summons. We have the new Fenrir, which I think is a definite powerhouse. So select two of the following actions: 5 CP, choose one light forward or dark forward, break it. Awesome. Choose a backup, cost 4 more, break it. Also awesome. Choose a monster, break it. Very useful. And then choose an earth forward of cost 2 in your break zone and play it onto the field, dull. Very useful as well. So Fenrir is going to make its way into probably one of the most played Earth summons. And being able to break a light or dark forward is going to be very important. We'll talk about, I'm going to talk about it obviously in the light or dark one, but I'm sure you guys have already experienced some Neo X Death as well in this set. If you haven't, you should definitely ask a friend to build that deck against you so it can tilt you, and then you can deal with it after. Fenrir is going to be one of those cards that helps you stop it or deal with it, and also helps set your opponent back a lot. Also helps you make plays. So being able to break monsters, I've never found to be super useful because a lot of the monsters are that you can respond and activate or force, use whatever play they have. Unsaganashi is probably one of the best bets. So yeah, you could break it before it's necessary, but you wouldn't be able to save a light or dark forward and break a monster because Unsaganashi would just break itself. And yeah, so it's a good card, but the monster thing I've never found to be useful. It's good, sure, but you can break a magic pot or try to do something like that to stop other plays, but it'll come in handy when you least expect it. So the option is really what's important for us. And bringing back a 2-drop is, I'm looking at one right here, Shantoto as well, which we can talk about. When Shantoto enters the field, select one of the two following actions. Choose a forward other than Shantoto, it gains haste until the end of the turn, or choose a forward you control, it gains, this forward cannot be broken until the end of the turn. So you could effectively break something, break a backup or break a forward, and then bring this out and prevent one of yours from dying. Very nice little combo here. But of course, there's other 2-drops in across this whole set and across all the sets really that you're gonna enjoy. So very good card. Now I mentioned my problem with like lower cost multicolors. The lower cost they are, the more specific it needs to be. So it definitely has to be 1 earth, 1 lightning to play this card, but there are ways. It is allowed to cheat all multicolored cards in, so this card might find a lot of play. It should be useful, and I do expect it to be seen. Put Kujata in here because it was probably one of the better cards. Choose a forward, deal it 2,000 damage for each CP required to cast it. So at 4K with no buff, at 4 CP with no buff, Kujata kills everything. After that, 4 is 8, 5 is 10, 6 is 12. Kujata will be a pretty good card to kill anything big cost. So maybe putting one or two in here for those absurd decks that like get pretty big might be useful, or that play a lot of big guys like Rampier. This card just kind of like says no to all of their forwards for 4 CP, so that might be something you consider. It's not the worst card, but it's not. But it is useful, so thought I'd bring that up. Opus 12 brought these guys for us too. So White Mage I found was interesting. It's a 4-drop backup. Put White Mage into the break zone. Choose an Earth forward of cost 4 less in your break zone. Play it onto the field. So again, it's like what is it? I can't remember. Devout. Earth just got a Devout. I don't see too many plays with this, but I like that they have this option now. I don't know if it'll take too much away from the miners and all those search abilities, like search and recover abilities like Apuru and Tyro and Star Sybil, but having one of these might be useful, so I do see it being played. This 3-drop Monk just made the Monk deck a lot more playable. When Monk enters the field, choose a job Monk or card name Monk in your break zone and add it to your hand. So a backup that could effectively almost pay for itself, as well as get you something back, is very good. And for 1 earth, you can tap and put Monk into the break zone, choose a Monk forward or card name Monk forward you control, and a forward your opponent controls. Each forward deals damage equal to its power to the other. you can only use this ability to your turn. So it's a backup that gets you another card back, and it is also a 2-drop Hecaton Chair. So very good, very useful. It's only a common, so it's gonna definitely make its way into the deck. And Vigali, FFCC alone is already nice. We have seen the Crystal Chronicle Searchers. Norstalin goes in with that, so Wind, Earth. But enters the field, you may search for any multi-element card and add it to your hand. So this is the first multi-element searcher that we see, a specific searcher that we see. And although we don't have too many now, we know going forward, Opus 13 especially is going to have a bunch. So after that, we can only assume that we expect to see many, many more. So having a specific searcher for off-color things or off job or off game, off type category is gonna be useful for us. So if this card doesn't see play soon, it will shortly in the next few sets. Borgian, I thought this card was. It took me a while to appreciate this card, but when Borgian is put from the field, use 1-drop 9K to start FF2. And when Borgian is put from the field into break zone, your opponent selects one forward in their break zone, and your opponent adds it to their hand. Now, I know that might not be the best thing, giving them more CP or a forward that they can reuse, but more oftentimes than not, Earth has. So playing this turn 1 or turn 2 before they pitch anything is always good, but more times you have ways of removing their break zone. So Earth plays a lot of Kadaj as well as Mist Dragon now. So just get rid of some, and then later you're playing 1 CP 9Ks for free. So that seems good to me. It's not gonna. It almost costs you nothing, and he's already threatening. So I like him for that reason. Yeah, he's gonna be good. I do expect him to see play. Now Shadow Lord, which was very interesting when we saw. When Shadow Lord enters the field, your opponent may play 1 backup cost or less from their hand onto the field. And for Unearth, until the end of the turn, Shadow Lord gains Brave, and EX Burst cards put into the damage zone due to Shadow Lord cannot be used. So this is a little different from, Wool. So from what I understand, it cannot be used at all, meaning you will not be able to search with these from his effect. So that's good. It kind of stops that. I know that was the problem before with Wool. Like, you would kind of stop the EX Burst that would break or target anything, but they would still be able to search, which is what ends up happening all the time because, that's how it always is for us. And again, stopping your opponent to play 1 from a cost 2 or less from their hand. Sometimes you can't prevent this. The later in the game this guy comes out, it's going to be okay because they'll have already used up their 2 drops and they probably have a full board already. And if they don't, then, sure, I guess they get it. But he's not a bad card. Cheating him in with Golbez would prevent this first effect and giving you a good strong two drop Earth 9K forward. That's one way to use them. I do think people will start using Golbez again. That's just me. There's a lot of new 2 drops that are very strong from this set. So Lael, I thought was also very interesting. We mentioned FFCC, so also searchable. When Lael or a forward enters your field, place 1 bearer counter on Lael. Remove 3 bearer counters from Lael. Choose a forward. Remove it from the game. You can release this ability while Lael is attacking. So it's interesting. He just remove something from the game from your when you're attacking seems really good. Obviously, it's a little slow, but I think it's not a bad card. It does fall in the FFCC category, so we like that about him. Next is the legendaries, and one of the best looking cards in the set. So I did put Regis and Noctis here, both multicolor. Regis, I mentioned in my previous video, when Regis enters the field, choose up to 2 forwards other than card name Regis, light or dark, put in your break zone from the field during this turn, play them onto the field. So just to clear up, it cannot be light or dark. Okay, anything else? Yes. So 2 forwards other than card name Regis or light or dark pretty much, and put it onto the break zone. So obviously the cost does not matter, the color does not matter, but People are using this with Kefka and Exodus, and just kind of like swinging in sometimes on like late games to recover stuff. Famfret's also another good option for these. Big Famfret. Um, yeah, so being able to recoup the forwards you lost in one turn kind of like puts your opponent in a situation that's like, okay, I just threw away my forwards, or I just lost my stuff for no reason, and he's just going to recover all of his stuff. And Royal Sigil, Earth Lightning, all forwards you control gain, this forward cannot be broken until the end of the turn. That I find extremely absurd. Usually when you do something like this, like I said, let's say you leave your opponent in a situation where they've lost all their forwards and you've brought back 2 of yours, along with having a Regis on the field. Next turn they could try to board wipe you. As long as you have the colors here, you can save them for a whole nother turn, meaning that your opponent has expended probably a larger amount of CP in order to try to clear your board to be safe for the rest of the game, and this just shuts that down. It really is like game crushing, game winning. So I think Regis is very strong. He does suffer from, Amaterasu, unfortunately. But hey, whatever, he's good though. If you get it off, you pull it off. That's just the way it is. Noctis is a great card. When Noctis enters the field, choose a category 15 forward other than card named Noctis in your break zone and add it to your hand. When Noctis forms a party and attacks until the end of the turn, all forwards you control gain 2,000 power and haste. So another way I love that it gives the power from Earth and the haste from Lightning. So all in all, great card. Remember, he can't party with Earth cards or Lightning cards, and he's effectively 1 CP. Just make sure you have the colors. He does get you back Regis. Regis can, and that's just going to be a play for later in the game. So the 15 deck is finally building itself out a lot stronger, and that's why I like these cards. Next is Kryol. When Kryol enters the field, choose a summon from either player's zone. You can cast it as though you owned it this turn. If you cast it, remove that summon from the game after use instead of putting it into your break zone. Very useful. Another 2-drop, like I mentioned before. Warrior of Light, category 5. Water has a new searcher, and Warrior of Light's got a lot of support this set. And then for 1 CP, colorless, tap, choose a summon from either player's break zone. You can cast it though you owned it this turn. If you cast it, remove the summon from the game after use instead of putting it into your break zone. Just being able to have access to an extra set of summons, or double use of your own summons. Kryol is very strong in that regard. She's a little weak, but if that summon makes the difference, then she did her job, and that's all that matters. So as long as you have the CP for all of this stuff, she's going to be a great card. Very useful. There's a lot of value there. It also helps, remove summons from your opponent's break zone, off to the side, as an added bonus to her. So very worthy of the legendary title. I'm very happy with the Earth legendaries this set. That's going to wrap up the Earth review, guys. Let me know what you guys think. I know someone already mentioned to me that they're playing the 15 deck and they're loving it. Is anyone else playing that? Tell me in the comments. What are the big plays? How else are you abusing Regis? Actually, the last thing I forgot to mention, that Regis has created a loop in the game with Renoa and Lonnie and or a Thief. So if I probably will make a video on that later once I'm done with these set reviews and a few other deck profiles that I'm working on. But I think everyone needs to know about this, and we will talk about that then. So welcome to Opus 12, guys. I'll catch you next time.